will present, and then the city's portion of the project, which Jody Young from MSA Professional Services will be our presentator on that portion of the work. Also want to introduce Clint Christensen, who's the project manager. Clint is a staff engineer with the city of Sun Prairie. The way that we wanted to go about this is we're going to have Dan Tyler go first and give you the presentation on the DOT's portion of the work. Their work is going to center around the interchange of West Main Street and 151. They'll be doing work on both sides of the interchange. And the city's portion will take place from between O'Keefe Avenue and 151 to the east to Claremont Drive. And what I would ask you to do is allow us to do our presentation, and then we'd like to take questions after that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Dan.
Thanks, Daryl. Thanks, Ann. And thanks all of you for having me. Again, I'm Dan Tyler. I'm the project leader for the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, that is the state. And I've been with the state for several years, leading this construction or design effort over the last couple of years. As Daryl mentioned, our jurisdiction is on state, interstate, those types of highways, and so 151 is the state DOT's interest. This is, I only have 2 images to show you, and I regret that they're reasonably small for most of you. However, we have some boards to the side here, so I welcome you to swing by those at the end of the presentation if you'd like. What you see here is Main Street. What you see here is US 151. It goes without saying to many of you that this project is necessary. There are many needs for this project. You can picture yourself driving through this intersection and noticing any number of things. Concrete pavement that is quite aging, spalling, any number of engineering terms don't need to be used to describe that. It doesn't ride well, it doesn't look nice. That pavement is quite old. Even more importantly are several safety problems that exist with the intersection. Most notably, the northbound off-ramp of 151 that merges with Main Street heading into town. Main Street traffic is posted at 30 miles an hour and is a characteristic of city driving. 151 traffic, of course, is going much faster, and there's a weave condition, we call it, where exiting interstate-style traffic comes into city traffic. That's quite dangerous. Also, you'll see only stop signs control the ramp terminals now, which makes it very hard to turn left off of 151, or turn left off 151 the other direction, not to mention waiting for your chance to turn left from Main Street to get onto 151 in both directions. It goes without saying to all of you that this intersection is ready for an upgrade. Similarly, these are the reasons why this was flagged for improvement for the Department of Transportation. As a slight bit of history, the project was initially scheduled for something on the order of the year 2014. We recognized the urgency of the pavement and safety conditions and worked internally to move that project date forward. Meanwhile, we had developed a very nice working relationship with the city of Sun Prairie, and Joe will describe to you the adjacent project at Main Street and O'Keefe Avenue. It's important for all of us to finish that Main Street corridor because the new Main Street, including 3 new roundabouts to the west, is complete. The new Main Street in town is complete. And so we're looking forward to putting in the final piece of that corridor and having Main Street construction be finished. I think there's a collective sigh of relief when construction finishes, yes. We have achieved firm funding commitments from the Department of Transportation to fund this construction project for year 2011. And we're very pleased to be able to present that to the city for this next year's construction season. The interchange will not look terribly different than it does today to you. However, it will function much better. You'll see, most notably, added left turn capacity to get on to 151. Those traffic volumes we expect will continue to grow over the years. There are a lot of development opportunities in this area, and we expect those traffic volumes to grow, so we'll accommodate them with this project. The ramps themselves have a slight bit of realignment. That's part of the way we'll make this we'll install traffic signals at the ramp terminals, and those will regulate the left turns and the through movements. That will give you the opportunity to turn left. If, for example, you come off 151 and you're waiting to go into Sun Prairie, traffic signal always gives you that opportunity for you to go. And as such, there will be some slight improvements to the way the geometrics of the intersection lay out in terms of how the signal functions. Without getting into detailed engineering of it, you'll see a well-functioning interchange with traffic signals at each side that are controlled by a single controller so that they function well with one another. They keep Main Street moving, and they allow you to come on and off of 151 more safely and more efficiently. So that's an overview of our design. The next steps that I want to make you aware of, and then I'm going to turn it over to Joe. Joe's going to describe the adjacent intersection at Main Street and O'Keefe Avenue. And then at the end, we'll allow you the opportunity to ask Joe and I some questions about our collective projects. I want to also make you aware, though, that we're going to give you additional opportunities as business owners, business leaders, to be involved with these projects throughout their construction. We aren't going to be able to tell you today the details of all of the construction because the projects will be bid in the early part of 2011. So as such, we don't know who the contractors will be. We don't know some of their specifics. But in the design, we can tell them to do certain things, such as have regular meetings on site that you as business owners will have the opportunity to attend. So that very specific things like a temporary closure here, a lane move here, how can I get my truck traffic through the construction site? We'll be able to answer those questions. And that will all occur in 2011 when construction becomes more near. So I want you to keep that in mind. We'll be able to answer questions today and other questions. We have reserved spaces in the design and construction process for you to continue dialogue with us.